podcast. I'm your host, Sam, aka Just Casual. Here I have with me a whole bunch of handsome gentlemen with me. First, we got Blake, aka Wise Papa Smurf.
Yeah, it's good that you start with the most handsome gentleman. That's smart.
Sure.
You
We
know,
might be saving best for last. I'm not
n-
sure yet.
Nah, you just start off on a strong foot. That's a good idea.
We
Best for
got
last.
Alec, aka Wormlex.
What's up, guys?
Alex
Sorry.
said best for last, and then he got introduced
No,
next.
it's best for last. I'm okay with that. I accept my place.
And we have a special person, I guess. Save for last. I was gonna say special guest. I'm like, wait, that's not it. But we got Brad, aka Adept, back in the house.
You know, I gotta say, it didn't start off that strong with the intro, but you did get my name right for maybe the first time that I've ever been on the show. So I'm proud of you, Sam. You've really grown in my time away.
You know what I have not done since your time away? Gotten better at hosting because I forgot to hit start button on Zencaster. So
All right.
run it back.
Good warm up. Good warm
Hey,
up.
that is still live on the stream. Oh shit! I didn't set the title on the stream.
I did. Don't worry about it. I got
Okay,
you.
Good.
That's such a good team.
It was good. All right, let's do it again.
That was so funny because you could just hear Alec go, "Oh," right whenever he got introduced next. Oh,
Best for
All
last. And here's Alec. God
There's Alec.
damn it.
God damn it! Oh.
3, 2. Hey guys, welcome to episode 179 of the League of Legends Anonymous podcast. I'm your host Sam, aka Just Casual. If you've been watching us on Twitch, this is the second time we're doing the intro because I suck. But who sucks less? We got Blake, aka Wise Papa Smurf.
That's less strong than the previous intro. I went from being a handsome gentleman to the guy who sucks less than you.
Yeah, welcome to the world, Blake.
Yeah.
And then we got Alec, aka Wormlex.
What's up? Got some deja vu going on.
Yeah, I'm like feeling really disheartened right now after like minute 1 of the podcast. And we got special returning co-host extraordinaire, Brad, aka Adept.
Hey, that was a much better introduction for me, and I gotta tell you, it was worth the wait.
All right. If you guys are new to the community, you might not recognize that voice, but yeah, Brad has been with us since like episode like 50-ish, maybe 60 or so.
I think 50 was my first one.
Yeah, but then he got kind of busy and things. But now he's like, hey, I forgot what's really important in my life, and he's back to the LOLA podcast.
I miss you, baby boys.
Yeah, there was a period of time where Destiny 2 came out, and we lost Brad for a while there.
And then they dropped an OP gun and didn't patch it, and I said, fuck this shit.
Yep, and then unfortunately he came back when Lee Sin now has been gutted out of the jungle, kind of.
Hey,
Rest
still
in
2-0
peace.
on him in ranked.
Yeah, but
Pre
that was
patch.
that was before he was gutted like a trout.
But
Oh, by the way, it's a local holiday where I'm from. It's Trout Day. So that was a
why do
double,
you know that?
That was a
Fun
double
facts.
reference. We actually let kids out of school for Trout Day.
Wait,
I don't
what?
believe you at all.
I swear to
He
God,
lives
we
in Missouri,
do.
so I'm not.
Okay,
doesn't
let me-
super surprise me.
You have a tractor day too?
Let me just pull up my school district here.
Or do you have like a
Castle
passive
School.
racism day where you have like a minute of silence or something? Missouri as well?
Well, it's more of an active racism day. It is the South.
Well, speaking of Tractor Day, schools near me where I grew up, there is Tractor Day where kids drive their tractors to school. So, I mean, you're not too far off with that one.
You guys and your fucking bumpkin ass ways.
Oh, you have the tractor to school thing too? RFFA
Yeah.
does that. Yeah.
Yeah, Midwest, Northern Michigan. We're a bunch of whiteys up here farming, you know.
Okay, so I'm just for the sake of completion, if you go to Cassville R4 schools, you will see on important dates March 1st and 3rd, or 1st and 2nd, no school, Trout Day.
Yeah, no matter what you do while you're watching this live on Twitch, close the stream.
Yeah,
Go
you don't need to go to that stream.
CassvilleTroutDay.net.
Cassville R4 schools, Trout Day is a
.edu.
holiday and has been for like 30 years. Well, see what happens is the state park next to us, which is Roaring River, they raise trout, like millions and millions of trout a year, and they grow them all up in this hatchery, and then in like one day they release all of them. Like
That's kind of cool.
shit tons of trout into the river, and they sell fishing permits, and it's fish in a barrel. Right? Like you
Oh.
just stick the hook in the water and it comes out with fish on it. It's fucking stupid.
It seems like a real shit way to fish.
Well,
So-
it's good for like little kids who don't have patience.
Yeah, but there's not enough time for beer drinking if there's always a fish on the line.
Oh no, you're out there for hours. I mean, it's an all day thing, but you come out with a lot of fish. But like people would skip school so much with their kids that the school just gave in, called it Trout Day, and it's been a holiday for like 35 years. So,
So
happy,
how much extra
happy
do you have to
Trout
pay
Day.
to just go there with a gun and just shoot them like fish?
Oh, I think they would frown on
You're
that.
assuming they didn't go there with a gun to start with.
Well, you have to bring your own barrel, you know. And you just
Own
put it in the
water.
water, and then you take the barrel home, and that's where the firearms come.
The
into
thing
play.
is, you could catch enough fish to fill that barrel straight away.
But for our gun enthusiast, shooting a gun into water actually sucks. The penetration on it is very little. You have to shoot an arrow, so that works.
Hey, Blake, would you like to tell everyone what your beverage of choice is this evening?
I'm drinking a fine red diamond unsweet tea with a cranberry grape chaser in a wine glass. Like classy.
Oh, you fancy, huh?
The wine glass makes it classy.
Now,
Yeah.
would you or would you
Yeah.
not say that is the
Attitude.
official drink of Trout Day?
No, sir. The official drink of
be
Trout
juice.
Day is Natty Light.
Seems reasonable.
Or Coors.
All right, are we ready?
Any
Are we ready?
Coors.
Are we ready to get this started?
Coors Banquet. Yeah, let's fucking do
Get
this
into
thing.
it.
Coors
All right,
Blue
so-
Ribbon Redneck Juice.
I don't
AKA
want to
trout
drink redneck juice. I don't want to drink redneck juice.
Oh dear God, you went there. Anyways, if you guys aren't aware, we had the LOLA tournament this past weekend. It was awesome. Most of us were there to cast it. I think we had 6 games plus a final plus a bonus game. So that's 8 games all in a day, pretty much. I think we got done within 4 hours.
Each can of redneck juice contains 1 drop of pure mountain urine.
I really thought you were gonna go with contains real redneck.
It does. It's pure. Where do you think the pure mountain urine comes from?
Oh dear God. Anyways,
For some reason I was thinking yak.
No. No, yaks are too proud of a creature to have any part in this.
all right.
Anyway, Sam,
Anyway.
you're talking about a tournament that we did?
Yeah, we had an awesome tournament. A lot of people were involved. It was fun. We had 4 teams going at it, and God, I can't like take this episode seriously now that I keep seeing you drinking that stuff.
That's all right.
Yeah,
That
so-
was it. I'm done. I have no more left.
Great. So now we can get on with the show.
Now I'm going to switch to this.
God, it's just like more.
Blake found a way to slurp. Up fucking chorus. Like, I'm working in an audio medium. Let me see what the loudest thing I can fucking do is.
You
It's
know-
not gonna distract anybody.
It's considered rude to make somebody laugh while they're drinking tea.
It's considered rude to slurp into your microphone, you dickhole.
God, I just drank tea with my lungs.
So, anyways, little tournament was awesome, and from that, we just wanted to give a little bit of feedback on just like common mistakes we saw, that especially ones that can be easily fixed, just to kind of bump up everyone's gameplay after listening to this episode. Because again, tournament was really fun. I think some teams had a little bit of time to practice, so we might have seen some higher quality games, and yeah, just to give you guys a little bit more value. So, what do you guys want to start off with? I know Blake. Okay, actually, I'll give the floor to Blake since he actually wrote out like pages of notes like a lawyer. It's like crazy.
Yeah, on a legal pad. And then I ripped off the page of my legal pad. So
Wait, did you do that in court?
I did it in my office.
Lies.
Yeah, did it in my office. Well, I couldn't watch the games in court because that would be awkward. Like, anyway.
You just have like a headphone in one ear.
Well, no, I do have those like over-the-ear bone conduction suckers that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you really couldn't hear it if I decided to do that, but it would be kind of obvious when I'm like
Yeah, but there's like a witness crying on the stand, and you're like, "Fuck auto attack."
Yeah.
How does the defendant plead? They really should have invaded here at level 4. Oh, sorry, wrong
That's all right.
part. Wrong thing.
Sir, this is a trial for a home invasion. They did invade.
Yeah.
Level 1 specifically.
Well, whenever I talk about people getting raped on this thing, it'll
Ooh,
cross over.
Boy, oh boy.
we
Yeah.
just went there.
So anyway,
It's quite the invasion.
yeah, my defendant pleads bronze as fuck. So anyway,
How was it you were apprehended by the police? Dude, I didn't look at my mini-map at all.
I did not pay attention to my resets.
First thing, no lookout. Did not ward.
0 map awareness.
So all right,
Blake.
I guess we'll get started here. One of the funny thing is overall about the tournament, there was a lot of really good plays, and there was some pretty awesome mechanical shit that I saw from silver players that were doing diamond level escape moves and shit like that. Like there was a lot of really good individual moments, right? So whenever I talk about these other things, this is like low-hanging fruit that if you combine all of this stuff into your game, like as a second nature thing, you will climb a lot of elo by implementing these things and when to properly do them. Most people think that all of a sudden I hit plat and then now I'm doing hero plays. No, you were doing hero plays in silver. You just weren't doing everything else that will cause you to consistently rise, right? And that was kind of the focus of what I wrote down.
Well, that and the doing hero plays that succeed 1 out of 10 times versus 7 out of 10 times.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Consistency of hero play.
Sure, that's fair. That's fair. So what I wrote here is just to give an idea of, I think this is a really good indicator of where everybody's head is at in this thing is there's map advantages that are left on the board, right? I would see a consistent pattern of a jungle gank going off and it being successful, or even if it's unsuccessful, it doesn't really matter. But somebody's either dead or the gank failed and they got away, but they still have no pressure and they're shoved out of their lane, right? What you generally want to do is shove that wave in before you recall, right? People will just leave that wave on the board and it'll just kind of stagnate in the middle or crash one way or gradually push back into towers.
Worst case scenario, very slowly slow push to them and stack a wave up for when they get back.
Yeah.
Hey, don't worry about that gold you lost from dying. It'll be there. It'll be there.
It'll
when
be
you get
there.
back.
It'll be there
After
with
you buy it.
experience. Yeah, with experience. And so you could deny all of that if your jungler just stays and helps you push the wave in, right? Also, if that happens, it's safety for you to push the wave in because your jungler is automatically there. So if another jungler tries to come and clean up, they have to fight both of you, which is less appealing.
And also, just to be a little bit extra on this, don't be a fucking dickhead to your jungler for helping you push it in. It's a time thing, not a who gets the CS thing. You just got to get that wave out so you have time to buy and get back to lane in time with in congruity. Congruity, is that a word? At the same time as your fucking lane opponent.
There you go. And I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. Is don't stress the CS at that point because you weren't gonna get it anyway if they didn't shove it in.
Mm-hmm.
It was just gonna
Yeah,
die to
gonna
other
leave it.
CS. You were gonna leave it. Don't be a bitch. Share resources, right? Don't stress the CS. I love that. I just came up with that, and now it's a thing. It's a thing. Okay.
I totally missed it.
Don't
What?
stress the
Don't-
CS.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Ain't
yeah.
no stressing when I'm CSing.
I like that one too. That's a good variation. Okay, something I saw a lot, particularly in game 1, was people will give up on the fights too easy. They'll just run out of it
Mhm.
instead of pacing back or kiting backwards out of it, which is just giving up on the fight too easily. Oh no, it started to turn bad because someone almost got bursted to death. Better run. when in reality they just use all their cooldowns. So now is the time when you should be trading back damage, but instead you're afraid you're going to lose the fight, so you just took off. Right? On the flip side of that coin, which is odd that, I'd say, okay, well, they left too early, but then in other times they stayed way too long. When it's like you've just committed to foolishness at some point. Like you're going to stay even though you could have limped out. Right? And I think that's something that I don't really want to talk a lot about because it comes with experience. But I think, you develop that experience by pushing the envelope of what you think is possible.
Yeah, that's largely a repetition thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just a point of learning. Okay.
No, I think actually just to sit on that a little bit, I think it's really, really important because if you're a little confused about it, I think the most black and white idea of that is Viger. If Viger uses his ult and you're an 80 carry, you are just terrified of that. But when you see Viger use that ult on your other carry or your tank or whatever, you're just like, hey, I can do stuff now. I don't have to be terrified because that is like the one thing that you can't do anything about when Viger is going to use that. So if he uses on you or anyone else and they survive, or whether or not they survive, that means he doesn't have it and you can do something about it. That's a huge part of the damage that's going to come out from the enemy team, right? Mm-hmm. And then I think an example on the flip side that we saw was, I remember a Viger almost dying, getting out with like 100 HP, but then stayed in the fight and kept dropping like Qs or Ws or even his cage from long range and just like not being part of the fight at all or not being close to the fight, but still like
was contributing from a position that was not putting them in danger.
Yeah. And that meant like he couldn't step super far forward and hit a Q on a carry, but that means he can hit a Q on a tank, and do something, still contribute something. I think he eventually did die, unfortunately. But still, like I was like,
I
hey,
know the exact fight you're talking about.
He's doing stuff for 5 seconds. This is great.
A big part of it is kind of like when you're super low, you can kind of follow the 80 carry mentality, which is, hit what you can, don't die.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the Veigar ult is like a super extreme example of like timing ults and like things like that. Like, oh, I can be really aggressive right now because they don't have it, or I can't be aggressive because they do. Like, you need to learn how to do that on a pretty consistent basis with just about any ability. Like every ability, especially like against supports and like bot lane, like learning when, okay, Nami just threw out her bubble and missed for no reason. Like we need to be super aggressive right now, or Thresh or Morgana. These supports that have like 1 CC in lane, that means almost everything to them. So like you can play way more aggressive than you ever could. And it's like, okay, I've got like 5 to 8 seconds here where I can just play super far up and really pressure them.
Blitz hook is like the quintessential example of that.
Yeah.
Blitz misses hook, punish.
Morgana Q, because she can't. At least Blitz can at least uppercut you. Morgana, what am I gonna do? Put a pool under your feet you're gonna run out of, and then black shield myself while my auto attacks do no damage?
No.
Okay, but okay. So that being said, I think we kind of hammered that. Like practice pushing the envelope on like staying in the edge of fights and not giving up before the fight is over. And, also when the fight is over and you're not able to kill anybody, like, do what you can, but maybe if you can squeak out, try to do that. Sure. Staying too long in lane and recalling in bad spots. This I put together, even though it's not necessarily the same thing, because it plagued a lot of the solo laners in every game that we saw. Like, they would stay till they had, like, 15% health, and then they'd be like, well, I'm safe. I'm under the turret. And then they'd get bursted by their opponent's just combos and die. And the guy would just walk out, right? Yeah. And it's, well, you stayed too long because you were under a threshold of where you could get bursted to death. Right?
Yeah.
Or like I remember there was a play where Malphite was sitting in the bush. They walked into a bush that was warded, recalled, and got annihilated for it. Because it's just that wasn't really a safe spot to recall, and they were like that far away from at least having the safety of tower, right? Okay, maybe walk 10 feet back and you don't get killed, right? I mean, I can understand that because at least they went into the bush, but like recall positioning was like poor overall, I thought.
Disrespectful.
Yeah, or like you're gonna recall in a place where a minion could attack you and interrupt your recall, like probably not smart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pinks were underutilized. Overall, I thought for the elo that this tournament was at, the vision control was pretty good, right?
Mhm.
But the most you ever saw, I think in one game I saw 3 pinks on the board at the same time. I don't ever recall seeing 5. But
Yeah,
I mean,
I would agree with that.
I don't.
thought I thought it was great. Actually.
Yeah, I rarely see 5 pinks in diamond. So I mean, that's not a huge critique. That's just low hanging fruit, which is why I mention it.
Yeah.
If you don't have a pink out, you could be contributing vision that your team, can't without you.
But Blake, I can't buy a pink ward. I need a rejuve bead.
You sure do, Chief. Because
Or hey, I want to stay on my Doran's ring after 30 minutes.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I would not sell a Doran's ring to buy a pink ward.
Wait, seriously?
Blasphemy. Get this guy out of
Oh
here.
my
Yeah,
goodness.
no, I know. Well, particularly at like 40 minutes when those stats really don't help you all that
Well, at
much.
that point, hopefully you don't have a Doran's ring anyways. But I was thinking, like, at the point in time when I still have a Doran's ring, that's
A lot of people hold on for too long. So it gets like I would say later into games, like people should get used to around like even level like 7 or 8 when you're getting to a point that you're keeping a Doran's item when you could be having a pink ward in your inventory. Like even holding a pink ward in your inventory if you have one out is super powerful. Like I've started using it a lot now actually. Just in this season, that's helped me a lot. Is just holding onto a pink ward more often because the just instant denial of vision out of nowhere can really throw people off.
That's fair. I feel like if I have an open slot, I'm very inclined to buy a pink ward. But if I'm like, hey, do I want to lose some attack damage and some lifesteal and some health to buy a pink ward?
Well, okay.
Nah.
To answer that, then.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm
Well,
just saying
no,
it's where my head's
I
at.
understand where you're coming from, and maybe sometimes it is right, but buy it earlier and then throw it down in a safe spot. So you have vision in an important area in a part of the map that your team controls, and that's your pink, and it's out for 20 minutes because you have the space by your blue buff warded, or you have this. You know what I mean? Like.
Oh no, totally on board
Yeah.
with you there. I was just thinking about selling an item to buy a pink ward, and I was like, I don't know. I mean, I also mostly play like mid and 80 carry, so like I'm just trying to get items that do damage.
I really think though, if you're at 2 items, you absolutely should sell. If a Doran's item is preventing you from buying a control ward, that is wrong. I
But
know.
what-
I'm,
What? Okay, so let's go an even slightly different scenario. So you're thinking to yourself, I need a pink ward. You have 15 gold, but you do have a Doran's ring you could sell, and you have 2 items. Are you selling that Doran's ring to?
No, probably not.
I will.
Probably not. It depends. I mean, honestly, it depends on the situation. Are you going, oh man, we're about to run to a Baron here and we really need this vision? Yeah, I'm going to get
Yeah,
it.
okay, then I would.
But
Yeah,
like,
that's
it's
yeah. I
it's
just mean,
super
like,
situational. That's probably the problem too with talking about like League with like these really specific like one small item like versus a vision ward. Like it could be a time where yeah, you totally need that vision for like setting up for a fight, setting up for Baron, setting up for Dragon, or it could be like okay, maybe like you're just gonna go lane for another 5 minutes. That pink isn't gonna be the end of the world.
But to me, this is like I'm going to keep CSing instead of putting my trinket down because I might miss 2 CS. Like that's what it is. Like if you use that control ward well, you can save not only your life but multiple people's lives, or have control of a map, or get a pick. You can get a kill out of that. So if you're like past 2 items, I think you absolutely should sell that Doran's, because having that vision, or buying even 2 pink wards or 2 control wards, just because the flexibility of placing that vision. Because again, if you're just sitting in lane farming, no, but at the point where you have 2 items, I don't think that's you shouldn't be just sitting and farming. You shouldn't be in a situation where you don't need a control ward.
Sam, I don't think that's a fair comparison, though. Missing a couple CS to drop a ward is very different from selling an item to buy a ward.
Okay, you guys have all made points and counterpoints. We are going to run out of time. This list is long as fuck.
We're not gonna get
So
through that whole list, man.
we're moving on.
We're
moving on,
How about, hey, Worm? What do you want to talk about?
What I want to talk about actually comes in really good to what we were just talking about is when buying Vision Wars is late game warding. Because I think that part of the biggest thing that people struggle
I thought
with
you were gonna
is
say-
playing the game.
I thought you were going to say, when to sell my Doran's ring for a ward. I'm like, fuck you, Wormack!
That would have been
No!
When to sell every item and only
Yeah.
buy Vision Wards.
Before you delve too deep into your subjects, we went over the official drink for Trout Day. What was the official drink for Tractor Day? Drive your tractor to school day.
That'd just be a cold brewski. That's easy.
That's a
Coors
sweet-
Banquet round 2.
That's a nice southern sweet tea
Nice PB.
with a little bit of lemon in it.
Pabst Blue Ribbon. PBR. Why did I say just PB?
A little peeper.
Anywho, since this is a League of Legends podcast, apparently, I've been told, with
You were
late
allowed
game
to.
warding, one of the reasons I saw like a lot of teams, like it can be really hard to play from behind. Like almost, I'm trying to think, and I don't think we had many games. Did we have any games where like the team that started off strong ended up losing? I think most games the one team got ahead and then ended up winning. And even if it happened once or twice, it was a strong majority of once one team got ahead, they ended up winning.
I will say
you're
teams
right.
did a really good job in this tournament of like snowballing the mid game.
Choking
Yeah.
motherfuckers out.
Yeah, I mean they did. There was a lot of good like pressure, and you'd see like once towers started falling, it was like dominoes, where they just kept like pushing towards the end of the map. I thought that was really like props to the community for that for sure.
Yeah, one thing I saw though with a lot of losing teams is getting bled out faster because of the lack of vision and not knowing how to properly get that vision out when you're behind. Because as a support, it can be like, oh, you're the support, like you need to be warding. But when you get behind, if you're trying to go out and ward on your own, you're going to get caught and you're going to just cause that game to end sooner. So there needs to be a good communication, especially when you're in like a tournament setting, you're all on comms, like saying like, hey jungler, hey top laner, like come with me out into this part of the jungle. Like we need to get wards in this part of the jungle. Like we need Baron, like a path to Baron warded, because if we don't have it warded when the time comes to go there, we're gonna get caught out.
Come on an adventure with me into the jungle to provide vision for our...
Let's
Yeah.
all die together. No.
And like as a top or jungler or mid, like say to your support sometime like, hey, come with me, like let's go like do some warding. Like you need to like as a team kind of set up those situations, because otherwise you'll find yourself all sitting under inhib towers with no vision in your own jungle, and now it's impossible to run out there without getting caught.
Yeah.
And
I think one thing you can do is being flexible with your trinkets too. When you're in a place where they have so much catch and you just like, you really can't. Like if you send one, sometimes you send that one support because they're the sacrificial lamb and you just hope they're not in that bush, because just sometimes that's a situation, right? They're either so
Right.
far ahead or something. Or if you send 3 people, three will die. So that's why you only send that one person and hopefully they don't get caught. Buy blue wards and like sit in your lane and do what you can. Be creative in the ways to get those vision, because even placing that blue ward and having it die immediately because there's people in the bush, ta-da! That wasn't your poor support that just got killed. It was a blue trinket, you know.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Actually, all right, are you done with that thought?
That pretty much covers it. I think that it's kind of hard. Unfortunately, this is kind of hard one to like push into your in solo queue. I would say like learn to either it helps a lot when you do it from other lanes, like to help your support out, because sometimes supports will get into a situation where they're just like, I need to ward here or we're gonna lose something, and then they end up getting caught for it, and then like other people flame them like, oh, why'd you get caught here? And it's like, well, we needed vision. So like learn to say like to your support, hey, like let's go get some wards down, let's do this, because you're in it with your team together, and if you don't get that vision, it can mean the game sometimes when you're losing.
Speaking of supporting your support, 80 carries. Use your fucking heal when your support needs it. Stop not doing that. I've seen it too many times in like the last week, and it makes me sad.
Yeah. So one thing I want to kind of jump off of that
Fucking
about
A,
playing
dude.
from playing from behind. What I saw happen that the winning team snowballed. One of the biggest things was the losing teams didn't know how to like reset, and I felt like there were a lot of games that just completely just took off because they couldn't just situate themselves. Like blue team's winning by a lot, red team has a better team fight comp. They just need to like settle down, group together, and then fight with like their ults up. But then what happened is someone would get picked off, or they'd have skirmishes, or like they wouldn't take the time to kind of reset. So what I'm saying reset, like everyone knows what I'm talking about. Can you give some advice on like what that means or how you actually reset like your game so you can kind of situate yourselves?
Yeah. So, like resetting in League is more like coming together as a team, being like, all right, we need to group around this objective or this. Like a lot of times, you get into like a funk, especially when you're losing, you're feeling down on like how you're playing. You get into a funk of back, repeat, go back to where I was in lane. Just keep going back to the same place. And like that's when you ended up like either running out on your own and dying again, or just like getting caught out in situations that you shouldn't be. Like learning once you get behind, like your team is your strongest asset. So like grouping and like figuring out, okay, as a team, let's focus this one thing. Like let's focus on getting a catch in our jungle because they have to go through our jungle right now. Or let's focus all on like Dragon, because even if maybe we can't fight them like 5v5 straight up, if we're more focused on it as a team, then maybe we can catch one of them out beforehand or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, Alec, what do you think is your favorite brand of tractor?
Everyone knows that John Deere is the best kind of tractor.
You don't like
Tried
the
and true.
smooth ride of a sweet Kubota?
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not well versed in tractors, so I'm gonna stop trying to fake it.
All right.
I know John Deere and John Deere alone. I had John Deere toys growing up, and
Hell
I will
yeah.
die on that cross.
Yeah, Deere, it makes a quality tractor. But,
Okay, so I just want to make a few more points about that, and then Blake, we can get back to your long bullet point of list. And as Blake dances in front of the camera,
Blake, what are you doing? Did
Yeah.
you
got my,
have like a little dipey situation?
No, man, I got myself a boxer Melvin. This is a forward wedgie.
I thought. Wait,
That's what a
second,
Melvin is, right?
How do you get a
That's-
forward wedgie when you have an Audi, not an innie?
Because I was.
How
I
did
was
you get a
scooting-
wedgie on your Audi?
A scoot was my what? A wed? An Audi's a belly button. I've got like balls.
Oh, I'm
I got a
talking
balls
about your
wedgie.
front side.
Yeah, I got a balls
Your
wedgie. It's like whenever you scoot forward and the boxers catch and it pulls back in the front, that's not a good situation to be having. So you
no,
gotta
it's not.
do a
You
little
gotta
shimmy
reset.
shake. You
You gotta reset. You know.
gotta reset, which brings us right back.
So yeah, one of the things that again, like if red team is
I'm
losing,
not thrilled.
No, that
Team
was
fight
quality hosting. You got to give him that. That was a hell of a transition. He went from uncomfortable ball pinching to talking about League of Legends seamlessly.
But do you know what
That's-
kills transitions? Pointing them out.
That's why he's a pro. That's why, right there.
Blake's here to just derail the whole thing.
Yeah, it's like a fight of good and evil or something. There needs to be a balance of both. So yeah, one of the things that I will also suggest is what happens is like, you lost a team fight. You look at timers, and you're like, oh, Inferno Drake's up in 50 seconds. So what you do is like, everyone goes back. People that survived go back, buy your items, get your control wards, push out the waves, make sure everyone's ults are up and stuff like that, and then go in together instead of like, top lane's going to continue pushing and pushing and pushing. Oh, there's 15 seconds left. I should move down while the rest of your 4 are clearing wards, get caught. And then again, like you have 4 people using their ultimate. The 5th person comes in late or just doesn't arrive because it's too late. And then you just continue the cycle of like, we have a good team comp. Let's sit together. Let's get caught together because it doesn't matter if we get caught together because we're going to destroy them anyway. And I kept seeing this, and one of the games I remember, I can't remember what teams it were, but they were down maybe like 10 kills or like half the kills for a lot of it, but they still were winning good team fights, even though they were almost reset perfectly, but they weren't. And they couldn't win the game off of that. And I thought that was going to be actually one of the games that we saw a comeback, because I was like, I really like their team comp. It's just like Leona and someone else that engages like Warwick and stuff, and it's like everyone just goes forward. It's really simple, really straightforward. You just need to get all in the mid lane, go siege a turret, use your ults, everyone flash forward and just kill them and then win the game. But you just didn't have people set up all together, and it ended up costing the game because people kept getting picked out. But yeah, Blake,
Gotta play to win your win
All right,
condition.
back
yeah,
to the
what
list.
you got?
Back to the list. Okay.
Pick and choose. We're not getting through it all, man.
All right, I'm picking and choosing. And I'll just go through some of the easy ones real quick to just wipe those out off the list.
All right.
People are picking champions that are way too fucking hard to play. That's what I call the Brad special, where you pick champions that require like a piano player to input shit.
It's the only thing I'm good at.
So
The only thing I'm good at, Blake.
yeah, I
That's all I
understand.
got.
Apparently, you and the entire community, but
I'm an icon, Blake.
you
He's
can
one
play
with the people.
You can play something easier that's a little bit more effective, and it'll take a lot of the like, whoops, I fucked up a mechanical input. I get that it's more fun to play like on Guitar Hero on Expert than it is on Medium, but if if all that matters is how many notes you hit on the song in percentage, then play on fucking Medium. Right? Like, if you're trying to like absolutely, I'm gonna climb, I'm gonna win the game. If you're playing normals or something, fine. Like, I'm not saying you can't jam one song on Expert 10,000 times so you can play it in your sleep, but that's what it takes if you're gonna play Yasuo.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm not trying to call out anybody who played Yasuo. It was more of that's the perfect example of a champion that is like that, right? I think somebody did play Yasuo, but that wasn't really intended to be a like dog on you moment. But okay, so picking hard champs, picking champs with resets, and then not using those resets effectively, because that's any champ that has a reset. That's a huge power budget on their kit. Right, like Katarina, Tristana, just anybody that is like boom, 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 boom. I'm gonna reset. I'm gonna reset. I'm gonna reset. Yee, right?
It's like Darius's reset really made the rest of his kit terrible.
Yeah, okay. I mean, fair enough. But I mean, still, that's like a huge part of their power budget, right? And if you don't utilize the reset, particularly like Tristana and jumping and resetting your position to max range blast the shit out of people, or to do burst damage with a slow, or whatever, it doesn't even really matter, then you're not utilizing that champion. You shouldn't be playing them. Because you could get more out of a champion that just has more innate power and no resets, because you're not using the resets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember one game Blake and I were casting. Blake kept like yelling at the screen because he's like, "This Tristana, jump in, get the kill, and then jump back out." If the Tristana was worried about dying because it was a very tense situation, but because of that reset mechanic, if they had jumped in, got the kill, and jumped out, it was a sure kill. And there was about 3 or 4 opportunities for it in like one point in lane early in the game. And it's like, if you're gonna pick that, like you said, if you're gonna pick that champion, you got to take advantage of that because they're balanced around that mechanic.
And kind of based around like not even necessarily resets. If you pick a champ with the go button, you got to hit the go button.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah. No, 100%. I mean, that's like, you could have double jumped like checkers. Boom, kill, and then you're all the way up here now, right? But that didn't happen on almost everybody who had reset mechanics, didn't fully utilize that. This was really important. Not kiting jungle camps while you're fighting them. people would just stand toe to toe with the jungle camp and be like, I'm gonna punch you in the face, you're gonna punch me in the face, I'm gonna punch you in the face, right? If you move around, you'll take about half the damage that you would normally take, because you'll get 2 hits to every one on the jungle camp, right? And so that lets you gank it a lot healthier, or gank at all. Because like a lot of people were coming out of the jungle with like super low health, and they would have to smite to even be able to gank, right? And that's not something that you necessarily have to do. Not using auto attacks during ability combos cost at least 4 kills in the games that I watched.
So probably 8 kills.
Yeah, probably 8 kills because I only watched
Probability
half
wise.
of them. I mean, there were times where somebody would use an ability, they'd dump their whole kit, there would be no auto attacks threaded into all that until the animation's finished. Then they would start autoing somebody, and the guy would get out with like that much health, right? Like 1 auto attack's worth of health. And I'm like, well, if you would have autoed between your first and second button input, then that dude would be dead. And then animation canceled your auto with your next button input, right?
Yeah.
That is a mechanical thing that must be practiced. And once you get it, your damage goes like way through the roof.
I'll tell you this. This might not even be a thing that you need to practice as much as last hitting either. I think once you like try it, you're like, oh, that's it? Okay. So just like go into training tool, put like one of those
Little dummy guys.
Yeah,
the dummies right in the middle of the lane or right in the middle of the river, and then be like Q auto, W auto, E auto, and just like run a circle around them, and then be like, okay, cool. Like that could seriously be your warm up, like going into rank, like just getting your fingers warm. It's so easy to do.
If you're a jungler, you can practice that on camps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
especially because so many abilities are effectively auto attack resets. Like even if it's not technically an auto attack reset, like using an auto and then using an ability immediately after the auto goes off, and then you auto right after the ability, it's the same general idea.
It's either auto attack resetting
increased
or animation
efficiency.
kindling.
Yeah, it's
Right.
increased
That's
efficiency.
that's
either
the
way.
term.
Yeah.
So,
Both of those.
all right, this was driving me insane just because of my personality and everything I've pushed on the podcast for the last God knows what 3 years, right? Doing almost all of your opponent's health in damage, and then letting them walk away instead of chasing them down with auto attacks. Because you're like, oh
I'm talking about
man,
as a mage, right? Pretty much.
is anybody. Like, there were times where I would see somebody go in and they would do like, this happened in top lane. And the reason I wrote this down was in top lane. But I saw like a trade that went down and they're like, the guy has like 10% health left and he's like running off towards the turret. And the top laner just is like, all right, fucker, get out of here. I'm like, no, just beat his face in. Beat his face in with auto attacks. He will die. Even if he turns around and does 60% of your health and damage, you will not die. He will die. You get a kill. Like, you're done, right?
Yeah.
Just being like, well, I didn't have any cooldowns left. You have auto attacks. Use those, right? I mean, it drives me absolutely insane because I was watching this and I'm like, no. Turn around. Go. Finish. It's free. Go kill him now. Like, it's crazy. It feels like playing Texas Hold'em and trying to win without ever going all in.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what it feels like. It's like, well, I'll bet 90% of my chips, but I'm not going to bet all of them because if I bet all of them and I lose, I'm out of the game. Like, but you're not trying to win. You're trying to not lose.
Yeah. We have a question in the Twitch chat. Someone is asking, what if you're melee? And I think it looks different, but it's conceptually the same. You chase them down and wait for your spell rotation, or you are continually moving along with them, attacking them. Now, if they flashed out, you don't have a flash, you don't have a gap closer, and they're gone, like you're a Darius, like then what can you do? Yeah, you let them go back, but we're talking about like you had enough damage to continue following up that damage, but you're just like, I only have auto attacks, or like, all right, see you next time, instead of like finishing up the kill.
Yeah, and even on that, like Darius, if they flash away from you, like follow them, make 100% sure that they get their ass back to the turret, and they're backing. Like, if you're not following them to the absolute last second that you, like, granted, you're not putting yourself in danger of, like, a hook under tower or anything, but, like, say even in that situation, like, you get pulled under tower, that person has, like, no health left, you auto-attack them and kill them, and then you walk out of tower. Towers don't, kill instantly. So it's like, make sure that you're punishing them to the extent that you, like, if you just let them walk back to tower and recall for free and come back, it's like you lost a ton of punishment potential.
My standard rule of thumb is I'm at least walking them out of auto attack range, or not auto attack range. I'm at least walking them out of XP range, right? At least that far away from the creeps. So like, if they're good, like if I have a wave stacked up, right, and I could chase them down and kill them, maybe or maybe not. I'm at least making sure they don't get any XP while I'm doing my thing.
Yep.
All right.
So yeah,
we're running
that
out of
was
time a little bit.
That was a big thing.
Like one more.
I can do a bunch of them real quick. I'll just run through a bunch of them real quick because I can explain.
Like my
this
real
really
quick or your real quick?
Hey, Sam, do you
mine-
smell that? It smells like lies and deceit.
Yeah.
I'm familiar.
Yeah. Mine, but it's good though. It's good.
My parents taught me at an early age.
Yeah, we're cool. Don't worry about it. I got this. So anyway, here's my big ones. In the 2v2 in the bot lane, I saw like somebody gets caught and then the supports will fight and the ADCs will fight, but they're not focus firing one target. And generally speaking, that's how you win. Uh-oh, we lost Alec
Oh, he did.
in the video.
He's
Yeah,
back.
he's back. All right. So
That was
anyway,
weird.
yeah, your video just dropped. Anyway, but yeah, it'll be like 2 1v1 fights instead of a 2v1, right?
Mhm.
And that's just wrong, right? I saw that a lot on one of the, I think it was the second game in the list. Every bot lane fight was like, Braum caught Karma, and then the ADCs will fight each other, and nobody is stacking the Braum passive on Karma and just killing her. And it kept working, which was the worst for my point. But, like, it's wrong. I mean, it's still wrong. It could have been way cleaner if they would have done it the other way, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, so there was that splitting damage. That's really bad. There was no pressure to no flash. So like, if you don't have flash and you have a Kalista that can throw a Braum at somebody's face like Karma, how's she gonna get out? If she gets hit with that ult, she's dead. She's hit with that, Braum stunned, Braum ult, she's dead before she can do anything. And that's free. That's free for the next 5 minutes, right? And that didn't get punished. But that's just one example that was everywhere, right?
Sure.
Okay, and no pressure CSing. This drives me crazy. So like, this is hard to explain because it's physical, but like normally if you draw, like, take a compass and draw a circle around your ADC, right?
Like if you hold down the A button.
Sure, and you see auto attack range, right? That's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Then you do that for the enemy ADC, and the only thing that overlaps is the minions. Both of those circles overlap the minions that they're shooting at, but they never touch the other ADC. That's super safe, basic CSing.
You get up
There
in
is-
each other's faces.
Yeah,
Get closer.
there's no pressure, right? Like,
Mhm.
you're just going to get the CS. If one person walks on top of the wave, then that's pressure CSing. And it creates a zone.
Trading
Yeah.
stance.
Right. Trading
Yeah, it's gonna
stance.
make them miss CS. It might make you find more favorable trades. It'll make you ready for a gank when it happens. To
It'll
follow
also
up quicker.
it'll also make you really good at dodging blitz hooks.
Yeah, you live where you
which
learn.
is a skill to develop. But,
Also, that hugely applies to ADCs, but that applies to supports too. Like I played a
Oh,
couple games recently where I had a support that was telling me to be more aggressive, but they were standing behind me the whole time. And it's like, all right, so you want me to walk into two people by myself when you're a quarter of a screen behind me at every moment.
He's like,
Like,
okay, it's okay. I got you, Brad.
You also you also move forward, because if we set up our line just behind our melee minions, right, then that extends us to like the back of their minions or potentially a little bit further. That's our zone. Whereas if you're behind me by a significant margin and I'm up in the minions, then if I auto attack, I draw minion aggro, and they have two people that can converge on me while you're still back there. So it's important for both the AD carry and the support to be in trading stance, as you said, Alec.
Yeah. All right. So too much respect for tower overall. Like, everybody treated towers in this tournament like they were one-shot fatalities until the end game, right? They're not. I watched 3 people get away when you could have tanked 3 tower shots, killed them, and still walked out.
Yep.
Right? I watched that a lot. And that was one thing I was like, oh, they're dead. Oh, wait, they're turning around. Why did they turn around?
Towers ain't shit.
Towers ain't shit. Not after, like, level 7, 6. They're not that dangerous.
I mean,
Right, so-
still worth diving early. Be a man.
Well, sure, I'm just
Or
saying
a woman.
at
Be,
level
be a
3.
person. Be a human.
Well, I
Be
mean,
confident
okay,
and competent.
At level 3, your margin for error in tower diving is very small. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. That just means it's risky. At level 8, your margin for error is much, much bigger, right? And, look, here's the difference. There was one game we recorded after it for shits and grins that was like all diamond players versus the people that won the tournament. Look at how those diamond players treated turrets versus look at every game in the tournament.
Yeah. There's a lot more early tower diving. A lot more.
Yeah, like significantly more. And a lot of it fucking backfired, to be totally honest, and that was on me. I did that. So, I mean,
double tower diving into
I went a little hard like several times, but it doesn't really matter. That's not my point. But I mean, just the amount is staggeringly different of available plays that are made when you don't over-respect the tower. I under-respected the tower. Okay, that's on me. But I mean, it doesn't change the validity of my point.
All right,
Mid-game,
we through?
Nope, a couple more. Mid-game.
No. Blake,
this
you got
is
one
easy.
more.
This is
One
easy.
more. One more.
All right.
One more.
Mid-game recalls.
Hey, Blake, give me one. I'll do one too.
All right, I got a couple for you. I'll hold it up to the screen. You can do a
All right.
couple. All right. Mid-game recalls were terrible. Like, whenever your team is as 5 and they're pushing an advantage and you see somebody just recall to buy an item randomly, you lose all map pressure. And so, like, you've got to time your recalls. I don't care if you're sitting on, like, 3K gold. There are times in the game where I've sat on 3K gold and I got 2 or 3 towers just because we had numbers and pressure and position. Right? But one person recalls and that fucks all that.
God.
So that was a huge thing. And then the most
Like-
important one. The most important one. I've got it underlined right there. Level 2 is a thing.
Yeah.
Do level 2. Watch it. It's going to be the first melee.
Biggest power spike in the game?
Biggest power spike in the game. First melee in a solo lane of your second wave gives you level 2. Right? Additionally, the third melee in your duo lane in your second wave gives you level 2.
Emphasis, not third minion, third melee.
Third
That
melee.
is important.
That is a big distinction. So yeah, actually, I'm glad you brought that one up because that was the point that I was gonna bring up. When you're leashing your jungle,
then I'm free to bring up another point thing.
No,
This is
no.
yours, right?
You've already gone
When
too
you-
far.
when you are leashing your jungle as a bot lane, you have to leave that jungle minion on time. You have to leave that camp. Your jungle doesn't need a huge leash unless they're playing like something random, like a Vayne jungle or like I don't know, a Azir jungle or something weird.
That's their cross to die on.
Standard. No more than 6 autos.
I would
6
say
is like the absolute max.
leave it at 400 health. And I think Jake has actually said you have to leave at when the timer hits 141 and no later than that. I think that's pretty much correct. I tried it today and it worked out. I think I got there actually a little early. So yeah, you don't need to leash it until it's at 30 health. Like just if they especially in solo queue, sometimes for some reason the jungler smites it. Like you don't want to be in smite range when that, like you don't want to accidentally steal it if they miss smite it or do something really, really weird. So just leave it at like 500 health, 600 health, or 500 health, and get into lane so you don't miss any XP, because that level 2 power spike is so important, because pretty much any duo you can go in on a level 1 duo. Like even if you're playing Soraka, you can still do that. And that's how you win the game, and not many people were paying attention to that or making sure that happened. And because of that, it's like, oh, they can win. Oh, both of them were like, you know, when we talked about those circles of influence, they were both like super far away from each other. One duo hit level 1, or we're still at level 1. The second duo was at level 2 with a huge level 2 power spike, and they didn't do anything about it for like the next 30 seconds. And then they finally hit level 2, and then it's like you lost your advantage. So make sure you're paying attention to that, because it's so painful. It's like the easiest way to win a lane. Easiest way is watching level 2, 3, and
jungle.
6.
Hey, jungle, if you're getting a long leash from your bot lane, don't smite unless you'll definitely kill the buff with the smite.
Yeah.
That's not their fault if
That's
you
your
smite
fault.
and miss it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Actually, one more thing I'm going to add to, which I'm not seeing in the tournament.
One
which
for
I was
you and one for
disappointed.
Blake.
Yeah, I get one now.
Oh,
I get one now.
nope.
That's how
I
that
will
works.
tell Emil Richter to just mute you in the post processing. I did not see any level 1 invades at the LOLA tournament, which I was kind of disappointed on.
For shame.
In community games, we see it a lot, and what we don't see,
For pride.
when you're invading, drop trinkets behind you. Because I
Oh,
think in
fuck
two of the
yeah.
games we saw yesterday, we saw both teams go into each other's jungles and just dodge each other. And we're like, oh my gosh.
Me
And
and Brad were on that team.
Yeah.
We're behind.
you need
Yeah.
to drop those trinkets. Please drop those trinkets behind you when you're doing that cheese, because oh my gosh, I still want to see level 1 like just skirmishes in our communities.
Yeah,
And,
two ships passing in the night.
Yeah. So
But
Anyways.
Sam, how can I, ward the bush at level 3 if I use my trinket during an invade? This seems useless. I should save my wards forever and never put them down so I have them available for trades.
I think
Yeah.
Brad brings up a good point that there was too late of rotations in this game. You know, people would see something happening and then they just wouldn't rotate there on time. I remember there was one play that we talked about specifically. Brad and I did a minute ago, just now. Did that not make the recording? Weird. Anyway, where like they went in top, one person died, and then somebody showed up like 1 second later, tried to fight, they died, and then Zach came in and tried to fight, and then they died, and it was
Hey,
just,
Blake, I don't remember this conversation. Are you sure we had it?
I don't know, maybe now that I've got it off altogether, I don't, maybe not. Because now it's not sounding as familiar that I've said it all out loud. But maybe we had the
This is an intriguing
conversation,
scenario.
maybe we had the conversation about being more bloodthirsty and using your advantages. Was that a conversation that we've had? But yeah, no, I just remember this other deal. It was seconds.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Blake.
Seconds
Speaking
from
of rotating, how
catastrophe.
about we rotate into Sam closing up the show because we've been running longer than we wanted to in the first place.
I gotta tell you, I'm a little bloodthirsty for the outro of this fucking thing.
man, I'm so
You know
tilted
what?
right now.
Out of respect for you guys, I'm gonna put down the list. I think we covered enough.
Blake, you want to read iTunes reviews? While I
Yeah,
go, like,
sure.
draw
Hold
my
on, wait.
liquor?
I haven't done this in forever. I want to read
Oh,
the
Brad?
outro.
Oh,
I was
okay,
gonna
let's
save
let
this one
Brad
for
do
Blake
it.
because
Oh,
as
if
you
it's
read
for
it-
Blake, fine. Be off.
I mean,
with you.
Brad, if you want to, I just wanted. I'm just gonna stick Blake
No.
with this one.
Go,
is
Blake.
this the one with the Hawaiian in it? It's like
Yep.
Ukalawa laka laka?
Oh,
That,
boy.
that might be racist.
No, it's like literally spelled like that. I don't know.
No, it's not. No, you just said something that sounded Hawaiian.
I don't know. Is that pretty Hawaiian? Seemed
It's
authentic.
okay. It's been like 100 and some episodes before you said something blatantly racist. So
You throw a pineapple on that, and nobody's questioning it. Is all I'm saying.
anyways, we got an iTunes review.
All right, iTunes review from Not the Bees. League performance.
You skipped the Hawaiian thing, you-
Policy. No, I didn't. I just saying it, and you covered it up, and I pronounced
Did
it
it in
perfectly.
a weird order. Try it again.
I pronounced it perfectly. It was fine. We only need to
Give
do
it
that
another
once. One take.
Wow, Blake only wants to do one take on something. That's weird.
Ho'opo'olaolu policy, not the bees. In your face. Probably pronounced correctly. Sprinkle some macadamia nut on that, and it's a winner. Anyway, if you don't enjoy this podcast, it's probably because you main Yasuo Jungle. Shakespeare, Gettysburg Address, February 32nd, 1993. If you love League and haven't heard of this podcast, you must be from Saudi Arabia, because obviously you've been living under a rock. That was good. I like that one.
Geography puns?
Geography puns in this one.
I mean,
That
blatantly
was good.
wrong geography, but go on.
I think Shakespeare put it quite succinctly. Lola is quite simply the best. If you happen to know the 9 languages I translated to the title back and forth fluently, you already knew that. I am lucky enough to listen to podcasts all day at work, and this is my favorite out of around 50 various genres. It is the best blend of comedy banter and information out there, and is fantastic for both the League beginner and expert, as well as the garbage flute curious. All kidding aside, it has really helped me improve, and I sometimes listen to my favorite episodes half a dozen times or so to squeeze every bit of Lola juice out of them that I can possibly can. I legitimately get excited when my podcast app tells me there's a new one uploaded. Pi-Fi times 2.5 plus 0.15 out of 5 stars. Yeah, it's that good. And you should listen even if you do main Yasuo Jungle.
I gotta tell you, I wasn't sure when the Shakespeare quote ended. I thought it was continuing into like Shakespeare said that, he listens to podcasts all day at work. And I
That
was
sounds like
oh, man,
Shakespeare to
Shakespeare
me.
does.
that's some next level technology, Shake.
Oh,
I like to
Bill.
imagine that his friends called him Shake. What
I
up,
like
Shake?
Bill Shake. Old Bill Shake.
Oh, Billy Shakes.
It's like a drug dealer's name.
Well, thank you for that iTunes review. It really, really helps us out, getting us a little bit more awareness on the iTunes charts. And, of course, to destroy our overlords, the Bad Dad Software podcast as well.
Well, I
You
mean,
guys-
you're probably
were they in
you're
Saudi
probably
Arabia
in
too?
Saudi Arabia or Iraq because you're listening to the Bad Dad Software podcast. That's your national podcast.
For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, back in the day, they were ranked higher than, I think, they had the
All
number
of
one
us.
ranked
They were ranked
podcast
higher
for
than
Esports
all
League
of
of
us.
Legends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it was
probably
really random.
still ranked higher than all of us. I haven't checked on that
It
in a
might be.
while.
Yeah,
I'm
they
on
had
it.
one episode called League of Legends, and apparently that just gets them to the top. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, I don't know if we have any announcements. Just continue to join us in community games. We're getting 2 games running at once, which is awesome. And I want to see another game running, at least like of stragglers that we could just play normals or ARAMs or something. That would be cool. And if you're interested in shoutcasting, I know some people have expressed interest, and I need to get back to them. If you have, you should remind me again if I haven't got back to you. Because now we have a shoutcasters tag in our Discord, so we can actually get you shoutcasting, and then we just need to get like Twitch stuff and all
I
that good
do
stuff.
have an announcement. I
Yeah.
just remembered it. If you won the tournament, hit me up so you can get your like tournament victor tag in the Discord.
Yeah,
Right? Because that is what you get for winning a Lola tournament. You get your name appears as like a golden yellow in the
Are we
Bragging
removing?
rights.
Are we
That's
removing the people that got it before?
No.
No?
It's just everybody. I mean, you've done it once. It's like the Rise skin, Triumphant
So-
Rise. It's our version of Triumphant Rise. Way better.
So it's not like a trophy that's passed around between everyone.
No, man. It's just I have the golden glow of being a one-time winner. I'm permanently etched on the Hall of Champions. That's
I just want you guys to know that the Baghdad Software Podcast has not had an episode since November 24th of 2012, and of 5 ratings, they currently have exactly 3 stars. It's really up. It's a big up and comer.
It's hard to beat out there.
Get the Cinderella story right there.
Get in while the getting's good.
All right, so I think that's pretty much it for this episode of the Lola podcast.
Oh wait, I had
So
a second announcement, and that was comfort pick champions tend to perform way better.
Oh my
in the
God.
tournament.
And with that note, We'll see you guys next week.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
See ya.
I made sadness.